It's story time. Today, I want to talk to you about when I moved to New York in my late 20s on a whim to study acting, and I lived at the Salvation Army for a year. It was amazing, and I learned a lot of life lessons. So I want to share those with you today. But first, welcome to my channel. My name is Annette. I'm 63, and I'm talking about all things midlife. So let's get into it. This is how I ended up in New York. My whole life, my whole entire life, I always wanted to be an actor. And for various reasons, it never worked out. But every time I would drive past the sign that pointed to New York, I thought, one of these days I am going to hit the gas and I'm going to keep on going. So it didn't exactly work out that way, but I did go. I finally decided in my late 20s, I was 28, that I was going to go to New York and pursue my dream. And I didn't tell anyone. I quit my job. I put everything in storage. And I went to New York with just what I could carry, which was a duffel bag, like one of those army duffel bags of clothes, and my word processor. And I know you all probably remember those. So, and I lived at the Salvation Army for a full year. So let me tell you, it was the bravest, boldest, most exciting thing I had ever done. And it's still way up there on the list. But let me tell you about, and there's so many stories I could tell you, but I really want to tell you today about the life lessons that I learned. That time in my life really shaped me. So let's get into lesson number one. Lesson number one is you are braver than you know. And I say this all the time to myself and to everyone. I do not consider myself, for the most part, a brave person. But when I think back, I realize that was a pretty ballsy thing to do, to just pack up and go. But I did it. And I survived. And this was at a time before cell phones. Like, you couldn't call anyone and just randomly ask for help. I didn't know anyone in the city. I didn't even know how to use the subway. So it was pretty brave. So as I've gone through life, and I've gone through times like going through my divorce and watching my dad die and getting my kids through college and going back into the workforce, I have always said to myself, you are braver than you know, Annette. You're braver than you know. And it gets me through every single time. And I am. And we all are. So just remember that. You're braver than you know. Lesson number two. You don't need as much as you think you do to be happy. Before I moved to New York, I had a really good paying job. So I was buying a lot of clothes. I bought a car. I bought a condo. I was going out to dinner. And I never thought I could give that up, but I did, because I was very determined to follow my dream. So I got to New York. I started waiting tables. I had very little money. There were some weeks that I had like $5 to get through the week. So I would kind of wander through New York at night, and I'd look in windows of restaurants and see people laughing and look at women wearing gorgeous clothes. And at first I thought, I felt really sorry for myself. But after a while, as I started living this life, I realized, you know what? I am as happy as I have ever been in my whole entire life. I'm living my purpose. I'm where I just knew instinctively I was where I needed to be and where I was always supposed to be. So I realized, you know what? All I really need in life is a good pair of jeans and a kicking pair of boots, and I'm going to be okay. So that was a lesson. I really realized, and this was a helpful lesson later on when I was struggling with money many, many times, and realized you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot. And when I find myself now starting to buy lots of things, I realize, you know what, girlfriend, you are missing something in your life. You're missing something. So find it, because tangible things are not going to make you happy. So that was a big lesson that I learned. The other lesson, lesson number 3, was when I moved to New York, I was waiting tables. And here's the lesson. If you are rude to the waiter, you are not a nice person. Full stop. I will die on that hill. Waiting tables told me more about people than anything, any other event in my life. Let's face it, we are not here. No one should be the judge of anyone who's trying to make an honest living. You learn a lot about a person, the way that they treat the waiter. And this, quite honestly, has come in very, very handy on lots of first dates. If you do not treat the waiter well, you are not a nice person. Full stop on that one. And then the 4th lesson that I wanted to let you know is don't give up on your dreams. Do not give up on your dreams. So when I went to New York, I was 28, and in the world of acting at that time, that actually was old. And it seems comical now, but in every single thing I did at that time, acting lessons, auditions, I was always the oldest one. Thankfully, I looked younger, but I was always older. So what I realized is that 28-year-old is never going to think about one day when they're a 63-year-old. And they're going to wonder, why did I give up so soon? Why? I think about that a lot. I still want to be an actor. I still want to perform. That's a part of me. Our dreams never die. They live inside of us. But here's the thing, is that they will find you in different ways, in ways that you will never imagine. So, case in point, here I am right now, talking to you in front of my camera, and I could not be happier. Full circle moment. So, don't give up on your dreams. I feel like unless you wanted to be an NFL football player, you can still pursue your dreams in a different way. But never give up on your dreams, because that's really what makes life worth living. So those were my 4 lessons of living in New York. I do have lots of stories about living at the Salvation Army. And maybe that's another coffee time. So thanks for joining me this week. Hope to see you next week, and hope this was helpful. Subscribe, like, and join me with a coffee, with a tea, with a cocktail, if that's how you roll. Hope to see you next week. Bye now.